Greetings Soulswind here, and welcome to Let's Play Nemesis of the Roman Empire. This is just a summary of this game. Well, anyways, also a showcase of maybe the Osca siege on hard difficulty, of course. I just want to show that it's not very nice. Okay, let's just lower the speed down.
No task is too difficult.
Yeah, no, not like that. Ah, for goodness sake. Let's start with a little bit of the
I could do better.
thing. Anyway, we completed the Punic Wars
I could do better.
in the last episode. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? Can't even do things properly.
For the good of my people.
Yeah, please go here.
Without
Yeah,
delay.
we completed the Punic Wars and it was real difficult.
No task is too difficult.
It was no tasks. What a way to say things, huh? What a way to say things. Oh my gosh, what a way to say things. Ah. Wow. Right, of course, right? Of course. No task is too difficult. Detach first. Get all the horses attached first. And then you attach.
For the good of my people.
And then the rest of you. Yeah,
I could
go
do
to
better.
here. It's
No
so
task is
difficult
too
to just
difficult.
split these up into who can be attached and who cannot, though. Like, just sometimes just really doesn't make any sense.
Bringing you victory.
Group 1, Group 2, and all of you,
Attack what?
Group 3. Wait, how did you attach this one then?
Like grease lightning.
You changed groups just like that, really?
That's the way.
Oh, come on.
Give me something to chop.
Okay,
We'll
Group
see
3.
to
And
it.
then we have to upgrade and whatever. So, yeah. Just have to fight off these. And the thing is that, you know, like, these will get captured. Like, everything gets captured. So, we can't really send anything over soon. We'll be out of food. Meanwhile, every time we wipe out an army of enemies, a new one appears on the map as if nothing has happened. So, the only thing we might have gained would be experience, like EXP on the units that were taking part in the combat. But if our rate of replacement for these units cannot counter whatever is happening, like whatever the enemies are throwing at us, then it's just too bad, right? It's just too bad. Okay?
Making it happen.
Okay, I think we have to pull back a little bit so that we can fight these off. And then I'll show you what happens there. Meanwhile, we can talk about the game. I think overall the game is kinda cool, kinda fun. It's just basically RTS without the resource management thingy. So as long as you have food and gold, everything else doesn't really matter. Yeah?
Obey.
Everything else doesn't really matter.
Bringing
1,
you
2, and
victory.
3. Go on. Come back inside. Please.
No task is too difficult.
Keep the door open. Oh, come on. Now close the door. Yeah. Fight. Yeah, we have some of these detached already. Just like that. And you see, we can't really tell where because, like, we don't know which group they belong to and whatever. So, yeah. There's all these problems. So, well, it's fun in that we don't have to worry too much about resource management if we don't like resource management all too much. And there is not too much that we need to worry on, like having different unit production structures, because it's just everything from one, basically. Like, even horses from the same thing. It's just everything from the same. Wait, why are we under attack? Okay. So I'm not going to complete this, of course. We will not finish this mission. No. I'm just using this to showcase how this is going to be very grindy. So, because like there's not much of a story over here, right? So, okay, talking about the... no, we'll talk about story later, but we'll talk about general expectations of this. So, like, we'll have a town center where all train units gather around there. So, again, we don't need to worry about setting rally points. We don't need to be worried about getting researchers because you can queue them up very easily. They're all there. You don't need to worry about transporting resources from one place to another. Usually RTS is just a global resource. Like when you get your resource, it's available across the map. But we have a problem with food in that sometimes like we need to supply food to our units and food has to be transported from one place to another, which then adds logistics to food. So it adds a layer of complexity to food management in that, you know, like we just need to make sure that in a war, your food, I mean your soldiers need to be fed with food, right?
My arrows are ready.
So we can capture food also, of course. We can capture food. So like that's on food and resources. As for gold, it's mostly like just using taxes. Food, mostly food taxes on villages and villagers. Yeah, you see? We wiped out one group, a new one appears with food. Okay? A new one appears with food. They get food. Free. They don't need to do anything. Out of just this. Yeah. So, I mean, we can push through here to try and block out the front lines. But then again, they are starting with level 8. We are starting with level 1. Okay? They got to 2 or 3, but mostly level 1. So we are at a disadvantage no matter what. And therefore, this will be very grindy. Like, even if you were to put all our 3 teams here, it's 3 versus 4. Numerically, they are superior. Levels, they are also superior. I mean, okay, that's a level 4. Without even fighting anything, you know? They haven't fought anything yet. Level 4. See? Haven't fought anything yet. Level 6. You? 8. And you? 7. See that? Don't even have to fight anything. Already high leveled. Yeah. So I mean that's for this mission. So we're gonna continue with our defense and not really do much. I'm not going to complete this mission, of course. Just not possible. We're just gonna stay like this, and we'll use this to showcase other things. So like we don't need to worry too much about troop management as well, because you mostly just tie your troops to one hero until you have some detached troops, and then it's like selected across this, like this. They're all attached, but you have this and this. It seems as if they're not attached to a hero, but they are. So this kind of design here is a little bit of a gap here. Like, why are these not shown as their hero? Like, if we were to select this, as long as we select a few heroes, like, then the other units that are attached to the hero will not be selected unless you select that hero. So, like, let's say if we select this, we shouldn't be able to select, we should be able to select them, no problem. But if we were to select a hero, then we shouldn't be able to select any other units that are already attached to other heroes. No. By right. We should only be able to select the other hero like that. Not the people under that hero. Okay? Also, I mean, well, it's just a design choice, I guess. There are reasons why you want to do that. For example, this hero has got 3 archers. This hero has got 8 archers. So a total of 11 is very good at attacking a gate. So you want to select the archers across the two, that would be fine as well. However, I still think there's a lot of problems with that in terms of troop management. There are no numbers on them or anything to indicate who they belong to, like in the group. So like when you have all of these selected, who belongs to which hero? Like if they are all facing the same direction, which one belongs to which hero? Right? You don't know. So over here, this spearman, which hero do you belong to? How about you? Which hero do you belong to? We can't really tell, right? If they are all facing the same direction. Let me show you this.
I could do better. Point and watch. For the good of my people.
Like that, and then like that. Yeah. Okay, speed that up a little bit. Oh, a good thing about the game is that we can speed up, so that is something. Being able to... yeah, okay, like that. If they're both walking, or rather, if they're both walking like this, yeah. Which hero do you belong to? Which one is which? Can't really tell, right? Well, I mean, these are just nitpicking, of course, because ultimately there is very little need to do this. But I think some of the features can be improved a little bit on unit selection. As for combat, it's quite simplified in that it's just rock, paper, scissors kind of thing. Like, it's just piercing versus slashing attack. They have levels, so like if your level is higher, then you do more and more until you do your max damage. And if you're leveled lower, you do less and less until you do your minimum damage. But it always starts in the middle, what can we do? Okay, like we see an archer here is 6 to 18, so you'll do maybe 12 damage in general versus another level 2 archer. But then if your level is lower, then you do 11, the archer does 13 to you without factoring in any other armor thingy. So you have slashing 8, piercing 0 armor. Therefore, you'll be taking full damage from another archer, which is doing damage to you. Yeah. So then we factor in the armor and the defense, and that's how we can calculate this, which can be kind of confusing at the same time, but I guess it is already much more simplified because we just need to know that a higher level one does better, and we need to know which unit counters which unit. Generally, the spears counter cavalry. That's all we need to know. Yeah, just don't pit cavalry against spears. The rest are pretty much a mix of everything. Yeah. As for unit production though, we can improve the speed of unit production, which is something that is not commonly seen in RTS. Like, you know, having barracks produce units faster through multiple leveled upgrades. Maybe there are some that will provide a single level upgrade that just produces unit faster, or in certain cases you have an attachment to a building that will help improve the speed by producing 2 at a time or more at a time. But generally this is just, yeah, this. We get to like improve the speed at which sometimes it's just like almost instant. So it's nice. So yeah, generally that's unit management and unit production. We've talked about resource. Now we can talk about movement. Movement is quite simple. Like, you know, it's just select and right click. And then if you want to attack move, then use the A key and then left click on the floor. And that will be fine. What are these? Why are they split up? Oh, they are sending units from here already because they have supplies of these. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, sure. We will not be completing this mission. Okay, so we also have got movement first. Like, we have different
Bringing you victory.
moves here. Like, we can just move, we can choose attack move, we can choose patrol, of course. These are very standard. And then we have formation as well, which is part of movement. So you can move in this kind of formation, a box formation. But when you choose a box formation, you have to reposition your troops before the box position or box formation takes place. Same for the horse wings formation. Like, it's selected, but unless we move the units, it doesn't change. Okay? Our food is dwindling. Wait. Oh, horse wings. Doesn't make any sense for these units, right? Because the horses will be on the side. This is horse wing formation. Yeah. If it's a line formation, you can see that it will be different. Now they are no longer on the sides. The horses will be in front, I think, because in the front on charge, usually the horses are in front, as you can see here. Yep. And then, of course, box formation would be to protect the slower and weaker units or more important units in the middle, which includes the heroes. So that's something. Oh, did I not select that? Yeah. And of course, then the horses will be outside. Okay. So that's in terms of formation. Then, of course, you can do like leave army. You can do like explore, which will send the units to explore. Wait, how do we even explore though?
I could do better. Armored and ready.
How do you explore?
I could do better.
Oh, no, I think explore is for ruins or something, right? It's probably for ruins. Yeah, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we can also use the capture key to like capture enemy units, or enemy units, yeah, sure. Food, if there's no other enemy units around, otherwise you just fire at it. Or click on the building to capture the building. And then there's a loyalty point. So the unique thing about this, no, we'll talk about that later. Movement is done. Okay, then we talk about the uniqueness in this game, in that we have got, you know what, actually, oh, they did the salvation thingy. Okay, you know what, we're fine. We are gonna just exit here then. Okay, just quit. Yeah, and then show the credits. Why not? Oh, I can pause the credits. Yeah, sure. So now we'll come back to the credits over here and continue with that. So like the unique thing about this game is that we can actually capture buildings and food when they are unguarded. So kind of like, you know, you don't really have to build anything. So how do you get more things to improve your production? That's by capturing. So we also lose food. So like we don't have to worry about getting gold mines, getting to a patch of wood and cutting the wood down. We need to secure resource production structures like villages. Basically, it's just villages. And those villages, they can be recaptured by the enemies. And then it just goes back and forth in terms of allegiance to whoever captured it. Same for strongholds and forts and everything. So from defensive structures to production structures to a stronghold, like these can just be captured, and it will change allegiance and help the captor improve their production capabilities in different ways, or defensive capabilities. So you get to garrison your people in structures in order to fire out from inside. So that's another good thing. One good thing about these capturing is that, you know, sometimes you may not be able to capture a structure because there's just too many arrows from inside. So what you can do is you can use siege engines. So anyone can build siege engines except for the support units like priests, the shaman, and the druids. They can't do that. The other combat units, they can. So you can build siege, and then you can fire the siege units at the structures, the fort and everything. And if there are garrisoned units inside, they take damage, which is actually kind of cool. Like, so they're either forced to exit and fight, which they will. Usually in the case of the AI, they will exit and fight. But our units will just stay inside and take damage and just be like, oh, okay, all gone. Without even bothering the fight. But the good thing is they can just enter and exit the fortification, forcing the enemy to sort of switch target to you instead of sieging the building, which is kind of interesting. So there are some loopholes that we can use to destroy the enemies, because they would try to build a siege when you're garrisoned inside. So what you can do is then to destroy the siege, whereupon the people in the siege engines will also perish together with the siege engine. So you can do that multiple times, as we have seen in the Numancia siege mission, that this can help us with completing the mission, because like we can just defeat the enemy in greater number without using a greater number. We can pit 50 against maybe 100 and we'll still have 20 plus remaining, and they're all gone. So it's a good exchange in that sense. But there's a lot of micromanagement, which means that we will have to distract ourselves with this and have tunnel vision, whereas the AI is all over the map. They can do anything while we are fighting the enemies, so we still have to remember that. The support units, like the priests, can heal. They can learn from each other to get higher levels. The druids can also heal, and I forgot if they can learn from each other, but they can summon creatures to scout the map. The shaman, when they perish, they become the ghoul, which will do a lot of damage if there's a lot of people surrounding the ghoul. The enchantress can improve the levels of your units, so that's also something. I think that's what it is, right? So yeah, these are support units that do more than just healing or supporting. Then there is, of course, the shrines, where support units can cast global spells or something like that to affect everyone, like Starvation, Rise of the Teutons, whereby the Teutons will just sweep across the map, fighting everyone, including the summoner of the spell, and like whatever riches thingy that improves gold and all sorts of things. Yeah, so that's something also quite unique to this game. Then one last uniqueness that I can think of right now would be the inventory. Like you can use healing items, you can use artifacts and whatever to improve your hero's capabilities and make them more survivable, so that's a really nice thing. And usually heroes are a lot stronger when supported by units in the army, because the hero will survive longer and therefore can deal a lot more damage, especially with all these items and whatnot. And with support items, they can even heal or cause damage to the enemies. Also, the hero can share his levels with the units in his army. So like if units is level 1 but the hero is level 25, then the unit becomes maybe level 18 or 19, something like that. So that's kind of cool. Like you don't really have to train your units that are newly trained to a higher level, but of course we have research that allows us to have our units spar against each other to improve. So that's another uniqueness. You can level up your units without even fighting the enemies. They can just fight against each other. Of course, with healers attached to them, they train faster. So that's about it. Now, last thing I would like to talk about is the experience. Like, okay, the graphics are alright, they're just medieval. There's not much to really have a gripe about because it's quite decent, I would say. Some units may not be as discernible from other units. Like the principals and the Hestatus, they were quite difficult to discern from each other. But the graphics are generally okay, so are the music. I mean, there's not much of a loop across different music choices, there's just very few that keeps repeating. But in RTS, generally you don't really pay attention to the music after some time, and it would just be something that shouldn't be intrusive because your attention should be focused on what's happening on the screen. So the music in this game serves that purpose. Not too intrusive, but not too impressive either. It is still memorable in that if you listen to this for a long period of time and then you listen to it again, you might be able to say that, oh, okay, this music is from this game. Like, there are iconic pieces of music like this one right here on the menu. So there's that. Sound effects though, they keep turning on and off. Like sometimes you can hear sound effects, sometimes you cannot. So I don't know what's wrong with that. Could be a bug, most likely. Finally, bugs. But before that though, one last thing to talk about is the mules. You can attach mules to heroes and they'll just follow the hero. So you will not be worried about like individually moving your food supply. But that also means that your food supply might just go right into the battle, and versus another player, they'll be like targeting your mules first because it's harder to deliver and get food than to get army. And you can attach more units to the hero in the same way. So anything above 50 units, you can still attach them. They will just follow the hero and take part in combat wherever possible. Now to bugs. These units attached to the heroes, whether in the army or outside, sometimes they just like stand around and do nothing. More than once we have seen units, including the hero, get attacked, literally struck by a melee unit, but stand there doing nothing. They just stand still doing nothing. Then you have got a whole group of people chasing after one retreating unit or enemy. Often it's just like the shaman or something. The shaman moves very slowly, but your unit can take forever to chase it down. And then it's like they just go all across the map while remaining half of the army then faces off with 1 or 2 enemy armies. So it's like half versus 2 armies instead of 1 army versus 2. No matter how high our levels are, that is still a very poor ratio. There are many other bugs, of course, like, you know, units just suddenly moving across the map for whatever reason. Like, you're just trying to move them to one place, but they will be like just moving even further or something like that. And more importantly, like when you tell the units to retreat and they ignore your instructions and keep moving forward, that's the worst thing. Literally not a move, just retreat, just move, and they would ignore it and just head straight into combat. If this is a game mechanic, I think it's not a very good one. I hope it's just a bug. So yeah, I don't want to complain too much about this, so I'll talk about these 3 main gripes because I have already been very whiny about these bugs and everything in the game, and you would have seen for yourself what were the problems with the game. But otherwise, it's pretty decent, I would say, so it's a good experience. And would I replay this? I don't know, because like the story is quite okay and the cinematics are a good addition as compared to the Celtic Kings. So I found this game generally quite decent, quite alright, but there's definitely a lot of space for improvements, especially fixing these bugs. So I think that's all. I hope you enjoyed this series, and this is a nostalgic Let's Play series, I think. We are done here. That's the RTS game, and I would recommend giving this a try if you like not having to worry too much about resources or managing individual units. So the developer is Hemimont Games, and the publisher I think is also Hemimont Games. So I'm playing this on PC. This was actually purchased from Enlight Studios or Enlight Games or whatever. To find out more about where this game might still be available for purchase, I actually do not know, but it might still be sold on the site. Do check out my introduction video for this Let's Play series. And I think we'll just end it here. Of course, I'm not sponsored by the publisher, the developer, or the platform that's selling this game. I just thought that this is quite interesting and is a sister game to Celtic Kings that I have covered as a Let's Play on the channel. Right, we're done with this Let's Play series. Thank you so much for watching. That's all I have for now. Have a nice day.